All right, welcome back inside our KDKA-TV studios. I'm Rich Walsh in for Bob Pompiani, and now it's time for the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Some of the things we plan to talk about tonight. Are you worried about the Steelers' defense? It's only preseason, but that performance in Green Bay was not impressive. And we will also give our takes on the Steelers' quarterback situation. Plus, Adam Frazier needs to be in this lineup more. We have another all-star lineup for you tonight. From left to right on your screen, Tim Benz from Trib Live and Steelers Radio Network, Ron Cook from the Post-Gazette, and 93.7 The Fan, Colin Dunlap from the Fan's Morning Show. Tonight, we begin with the Steelers and their defense. A lot of missed tackles Thursday night. That's something they've emphasized in practice. Now they're missing a few key starters the first two games. But, Colin, do you think this will be a problem again during the regular season? It didn't look good Thursday night in Green Bay.
No, it didn't look good. It didn't look good Thursday night. I want to see Watt on the field. I want to see Hayward on the field. I want to see guys in the back end on the field a little bit more. I'll tell you, the one big problem for me is you haven't, and maybe this guy was just that good, but you haven't found a way to replace Ryan Shazier. John Bostic has not done it for me. He's not done anything for me in this preseason so far. I don't know, and I can't fully gauge, and I don't know what the other guys will say. I can't fully gauge this defense yet. 2 preseason games, a lot of the regular personnel not out there. It hasn't looked good, but that linebacker spot, I don't know how it's going to get better with the personnel that they do have right now.
Well, we knew this was a situation going in. I mean, the offense better be good. It better score a lot of points, and I think it's capable of that. I'm with you. 2 games is way too early to panic. I want to see what they look like with Cam in there and Watt and Hayden. But, I mean, so far, how do you like it? I mean, they've given up long passes. They've missed tackles. They've took bad angles. It looks a lot like that Jacksonville playoff game. The offense better be good.
Yeah, Colin, I think you're on the mark with what you're saying about how we can't get to the point already where we're saying, oh, my God, it's going to be even worse than last year. We don't know that yet because, to your point, a lot of starters didn't play. A lot of key contributors haven't played yet. However, individually, you're right, inside linebacker, just as much of a question as it was before camp started. Same thing as it relates to whether or not Morgan Burnett is going to be that positive of a contributor. Looks like Javon Hargrave might have either flatlined or even regressed. I'm still dubious of the depth at the outside linebacker position. So, in individual spots across the defense, I have just as many, if not more, concerns than I did at the start of training camp. Collectively, am I ready to say that it's worse? No, not yet, but I'm also not ready to say that I'm optimistic about it improving either.
But, Tim, do you feel like these guys are just kind of going through the motions? That's kind of the feeling that I got in the Steelers locker room after the game.
No, I don't.
They really don't care that much because it's preseason.
Well, they should care because there's so much work to be done with that defense and the fundamental issues of tackling and taking proper angles to tackle, which were apparently major points of emphasis going into training camp. If they don't care, then they should. I mean, I actually saw, Rich, a couple quotes from guys who are saying that they should care, that they should be upset, that regardless of whether or not it's preseason, regardless of who played and who didn't, that wasn't a good enough performance. And those people are saying that. Cam Hayward, Joe Hayden, 2 guys who didn't play, they're right.
This next week is the big one for me. The 3rd game is always the key of the 4 exhibition games. You're probably going to see the starters on defense, I would think, play half of the game maybe, and we'll see what they look like playing those guys. But I'm with both of you guys. It's been so bad so far. Only 2 games. Let's see what the 3rd one brings.
Yeah, there's not much I can add. I do want to see Watt, though, and I want to see the flip-flop with Watt and Dupree, if that has sort of any effect and any impact positively for the Steelers defense, because I think it could have. I think Watt might be the best athlete on the defense.
At least Dupree had a sack the other night.
Right.
I mean, that's something encouraging. Yeah. We haven't seen many of those from him.
Right.
And, Ron, what we've seen from James Conner so far has been pretty good, a limited basis with 2 preseason games in the training camp. But, you know, right now, do you think that he should take some of Le'Veon Bell's touches during the regular season? Well,
maybe early, maybe the 1st game, the 2nd game, but I'm paying Le'Veon $14.5 million for a reason. Plus, I still have concerns about Connor's ability to pass block and blitz protect, and if he gets Ben killed out there, you know, we're all going to be in for a long season around here. Yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to use him more in the 1st game against Cleveland until Le'Veon gets his, football legs under him. But I'm paying him for a reason. I think he's the best back in the league. I'm giving him the majority of the carries.
Like, Rich, let me let you in on something. Like, you're not going to find a bigger James Conner fan than me. I love the guy, love what he's all about, love his game. Le'Veon Bell is one of the premier talents in the NFL. This nonsense. On Monday morning, he's going to walk into practice, right? He should be the Steelers' workhorse. His paycheck merits it. His past merits it. He'll be in shape. He'll be ready to go. And he's not going to be here next year. You don't need to worry about it. Le'Veon Bell should average about 77 touches a game this year. And just wear him out. That's it. End of story.
For as much as I think Connor has improved, and he has, I thought he looked great the other night. I thought he ran through tackles. I thought he ran to daylight, ran through a face mask even. That looked pretty egregious. All that being said, Randy Fichtner's already on record. I asked him this in the middle of training camp about workload for whether it was Connor or Ridley or Tucson, anybody that he thought might be in play for next year. Do you kind of get a look ahead for next year from time to time more often? He said no. And I think you're going to see Connor in pretty much the same role that you did last year. He's going to substitute for Bell on a need basis only. I don't think they're going to try to expose him in any other regard aside from potentially, like Ron said earlier, maybe in the first couple weeks of the season until you get into game shape more with Lev. You might see a few more carries early. I bet you by week 3 it's all Lev all the time.
You know, the window's open now, and I'm not saying it's going to close after this year, but you're going to lose a huge chunk of that offense, about 40% of it when Bell moves on. I'm not worried about what they're going to develop for next year. I'm giving him the ball now. I'm letting him catch it out of the backfield now. I'm keeping him, lining them up wide when they go no huddle, so you don't have to change the offense. And I certainly have great confidence in him, and I know Roethlisberger does, that he's going to pick up a blitzing linebacker and save his behind.
Hey, listen, and Ron's talking about windows. We're at the quarterback window right now where we're one missed assignment away from the quarterback being done. Like, if Ben gets hurt bad again, we're not talking about rehabilitation. We're talking about retirement. And so this window's open right now. Use those horses and try to win. Ben ain't going to be around forever. You know, I mean, that's the reality of it. This is where it's lined out to win and win this year.
Couldn't agree with you guys more. In sports, a player's first hit, goal, or touchdown is celebrated in a big way. Well, number 1 Cochran now is celebrating all these sports and players for what they've done, and they've opened their first ever Toyota store and are celebrating with a huge grand opening sales event. Get special offers on all Toyotas plus an extra $1,000 over Kelley Blue Book value for your trade. The new number 1 Cochran Toyota, formerly Bob Massey Toyota, Route 30, North Huntington, or visit CochranToyota.com.
The number 1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by number 1 Cochran, Go One Better, and by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.